Yeah.
Welcome to J.ill, a production of iHeartRadio.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What's up, y'all? This is the Lady Jill Scott. This is the podcast J.ill with my familia.
Aja, Great, and Dansla of the group Kindred the Family Soul, and they know me on the blacktop as the mother of all them ass Dansla kids.
Come on.
Oh, and Margaret Laiya St. Clair, daughter of Karima and Ron.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
What's up, y'all? Listen, we are here to chit-chat. You know, we are here to spark communication, to spark conversation. Today, we are going to be talking about this, what is this? This like no nap culture, no rest, hustle culture.
Hard.
Booked and busy and booked.
Yes.
Stay grinding.
It's a perfect day to talk about it because I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired of shit.
Mm-hmm. And now it's funny.
In the spirit and the body.
Yeah.
But yes.
And post-Rona, everybody's on Zoom, and so everybody's accessible. You can do it. You at home.
Right.
So
speaking of just of today, we are aware that there will be no one prosecuted for the murder of Breonna Taylor. No one. And we like, we just feel that. You just feel that. You carry that weight in you.
mm-hmm. Hashtag loving on a black woman today. That's when the spirit.
Oh, is that been going around today?
Yes. Well, I actually heard that on the radio. Call in men of all colors and just love on a black woman today. Mm-hmm.
You know, normally we don't try to date these things.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much going on in our world, so much happening in this country that I feel exhausted. I do. It's a mental, emotional, spiritual exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, you know, we're here in the United States and it's all about grind harder and part of me does believe in that, you know, you have to work harder than everybody else. That's a part of it. Yeah, I agree if you want to get where you want to go. But baby need to sleep sometime. Baby need to stop. Baby need a good rocking
You better rock
dreamland.
yourself to sleep before you rocking yourself in the corner of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing about exhaustion and even tying it into like racial exhaustion or gender exhaustion or just the exhaustion that comes from capitalistic society and that says that you'll only get to where you want to go if you pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, if you grind hard, if you're the first one there in the morning and the last one gone at night. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the historical ties to that type of mythology is just so ingrained in us as a society. And for those of us who are women and those of us who are Black, we find ourselves caught in the middle of trying to be and achieve all that we can and not always understand that that is a myth and that it is a lie. And now we kill ourselves for that which was never meant for us to achieve. And then we have to sit back and find room to imagine a space that says, well, what does it look like for me? What does a successful life and a peaceful life and a achieved life look for me? And how do I define that? And that is, you know, feels to me to be the question of the day.
We're in a new paper bag.
Oh, ma'am. Oh, yes. And
It's a brand new
paper bag is perfect. That's a perfect way to describe it because a paper bag is so delicate. And you
If you shake it,
you shake it,
with
the
something
shit
in
toe
it.
up. A little bit of grease make it weak, baby.
We are in a new paper bag and it's all kinds of seasoning up in here. And the bag is just rickety. Rickety. Everything has to change. And I know, I'm no ways weary. We've been singing these songs, the gospel songs. I'm no ways tired, no ways weary. I just cannot grasp how any human being doesn't need to refuel. Right. Maybe it's not sleep for you. There are a lot of people, especially young people, younger people than I, that, have all this energy, can get up and do the most. And often I admire that. And while you have it, that's what's up. I would say the 20s are for working hard. Do that. The 30s are for working smart. The 40s are for working when you want to. And how you want to.
That's the dream.
And that's the dream.
Oh, the goal.
That's okay, better yet.
Right.
Yeah, the goal. And the 50s are, that's up to you, however you want to play that. If you want to continue to work how you want, when you want, that's what's up. If you choose not to work at all and travel the world and hang out with your family and friends and things like that. That's the way I see it. But I'm about to be 50 and I'm still, working. But my good friends, I am also taking a nap on the daily. I take naps.
I gotta tell you that, and we spoke about this personally between the three of us, that, the discovery of the Nap Bishop on Instagram has definitely changed my personal life.
The Nap what?
The Nap Bishop.
And there's a Nap Bishop too?
Yes, girl, the Nap Bishop.
Girl, you put us on to the ministries, now the Bishop?
Well, the Nap Bishop is the woman that runs the Nap Ministry.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And it would have been lovely to have her on the show to talk about this sleep revolution, this nap revolution. However, she is a preacher of her own gospel. And she has taken all that she's going to take in for 2020 in terms of work and spreading this message and taking on. And I think her absence in this moment is actually even more profound than her presence. Because oftentimes I find that we, particularly as Black women, have these transformative messages. And we're able to come up with these brilliant theories, this brilliant philosophy. And yet, we find it very difficult to live that philosophy for ourselves, mostly because the world is in such need of our presence and such need of what we bring to the table that we just can't fathom how to do that. So I think her absence here drives home the message that your brilliance is essential, but your presence is not always.
So wait, I want you to reiterate that, Asia, because you said that so fast, but we had discussed the fact, I forgot we discussed the fact that she's taking a break and she has decided that she is not working for the rest of the year, which I found like, why that is.
Well, she's taken all of the work in which she has allotted.
Right.
That is healthy for her for 2020.
Right. Oh, I can't wait to talk to her in 2021. Okay.
Is the goal to work how you want, when you want. Yes. So how do you accomplish
But the question is, at what point in life does that become the goal? Is that the revolutionary way that you think from the gate? Because we discussed, and we all learned this together. Trust me, we're on the same page. You work hard your 20s, smart your 30s, when you want to your 40s. But if the thinking is that Blackness has no age, it has no gender, it has all these things, because there's ageism and gender and all that stuff. The point is that Blackness in our experience here, and in our experience as a labor class, even if we weren't Black people, that we're all victims of this system. So does that have to start at a certain point in your life? Can you start to implement these life changes and this life, philosophy from the gate? I talked to my son today
Tell me about it.
And I said to him, he was asking me advice about his career and about, school and just his plans for the next year. Because
tell folks how old he is.
Such a weird year.
So you know.
He's 21.
Uh-huh.
And he said, I know it feels crazy. Come on now, baby. So he, and I said to him, I said, well, do you feel under any pressure to get all of these things done? And he said, no. I know it's up to, he said, I know it's up to me how it goes from here.
You know what else I think? I think that we get tired of moving when it isn't necessarily the right thing for you anymore.
Girl, I had to aim in hands up.
Yeah, I mean, we change, we evolve, we grow. We want different things as we move along. New people come into our lives. And maybe that thing that you were so impassioned about 10 years ago is not the same. It's not the thing. Maybe you've learned something. Maybe you've unlearned something, and you want to move in a different direction. I do believe in following that passion and not, I don't get this, I believe in grinding, let me be clear, but grinding for something that you actually believe and want. Not just because it makes you money. You're going to burn out.
It's true. If you don't love it, especially, because we all grinded.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Still am.
Yeah.
Still are.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of grind.
But it's some things that I love to do. And in my schedule, hey, listen, in my schedule, I make it a point to have some nap time. I don't care if it's quiet time. I don't care, if it's stretch time, but it's my time. And I need it. Respect you, loved you, want you, but...
So I wanted to share this little thing with you guys because we did, we're not going to spend the whole show, obviously, speaking on a Nat Bishop, but I wanted to bring up some of her words in this moment, though, as we talk about finding that balance between the grind and the replenish. So she says on her Instagram page, this is about more than naps. We are attempting to disrupt a toxic system that ties our worth to how much we produce. Our bodies do not belong to capitalism. We know better. Rest and resist. Thoughts, ladies?
How do you fight exhausted?
And it's also very American too. It's funny, when I was preparing for this show, I was looking up, we forget about siestas, and in Europe they do, I forget the name of theirs, but it's all over the world. There's some form of nap or rest that us as Americans just we don't believe in.
No. I always got to take it back to Botswana.
Come on.
to where, Jill?
Botswana.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and in Botswana... I'm telling you, I will tell you forever that my time in Africa really, really changed my mind about a lot of things, about a lot of things, particularly time and space. Their family means more than money. Time together means more. Raising your children means more than money. It's so crazy to me that, when the settlers or the pilgrims or whatever you want to call them, what do you call them? The
colonizers? The colonizers.
Colonizers.
When the colonizers came, they looked at these people as savages, but they actually know how to live. That is major. And we, as African Americans, if you will, we don't know how to do it. We know how to follow the trend. We know how to walk their walk, the colonizers' walk, but we don't know how to exist yet.
Because we're still catching up, too.
Majorly. We still have post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean...
Carrying it and walking around with it.
Oh, yes. I mean, even the the different stages that we've gone through to, to find and make some sort of sense of this life here and how to live it. And, at first thinking, oh, well, if we're represented in this society, then we'll be okay, right? And maybe that desire to be represented here, it, has pulled us further away from that energy that we know to be true. That thing that's innate in us, that thing that's culturally that we brought with us, that desire to be represented there says, oh, well, I have to find the best, the quote unquote best according to the society we live in, which is based on, we all know what that's based on, the best of the best of us. And it's like, we got to shift what we think the best is. If we think the best is this thing, we'll kill ourselves trying to be it. And still won't be accepted. And still won't be accepted, by the way. Still won't be accepted, by the way. One of our great local DJs here, Miss Patty Jackson, she got on the radio on her show the other day, or either it was earlier today, and said something like, talking about Time magazine, the people had made the cover of Time about being the most influential people. And she said she thought maybe that it should have been all the people who had passed from COVID as being the most influential
that
people.
Would have been, ooh.
And I thought that was, profound, because who we decide is influential, who we decide is, important to culture, pushing culture forward, our society, it gets further and further away from people.
Yeah.
The masses, those of us who, are not able to be, acknowledged in that way that's centered around, that kind of excellence, or whatever that excellence looks like. It's rough. It's rough out here. So we need time.
I'm working on dialect coaching and things, getting ready to play Mahalia Jackson. And she says, right before the I Have the Dream speech, she says, Martin, tell him about the dream. Tell him about the dream, Martin. And that's the point. You gotta rest. There's so many ideas, brilliant ideas, storylines, melodies, all kinds of information and creativity comes through in your dreams.
Oh, yes.
You're working so hard that your body just collapses. And then you get up and you do the same thing all over again. You work so hard, you grind so hard, and then you're having issues wondering why your head is clouded or why you have writer's block. Lay your ass down for a spell, if you will. You need it.
Yeah.
That obviously we're all in the same position, like we're all here agreeing with each other.
Right.
Which is
in the spirit of disagreement or healthy debate, what should be said when a person says, look, I don't have time to rest. I rest, right. I don't eat. I rest, my children don't get cared for. I mean, there are those, rest has become, a habit of the privileged. You know what I'm saying? And so that time and rest, your access to it is directed to your privilege in society. So what about those people?
But don't you think it's both sides, though? It's interesting, though. It's like, yeah, there's that. But then there's also the super duper successful who exclaim, I don't rest. I'm always working. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning to make sure I'm looking at the stock market and doing this. So then there's also the flip side of people looking to them and going, if I want to achieve this, this is what I got to do. It's just interesting. I mean, it's just interesting that it's on both sides like that. Like,
yeah.
I think it's really up to you. What is it that you need? We keep trying to follow, what everybody else is following, just following the trend. What do you need? You need rest, and lay your ass down and try to plan a schedule and a life for yourself where you can actually rest.
Right.
You know that the more children that you have, the more likely you are to be exhausted. The more you'll have to work, or, the more you'll need some help. Try to plan for what it is that you want in this life. Think about what it is. You like to get a nap, then that takes a certain kind of life. It may take some time to get there, but that's the goal, is to get there, get to the life that you want to live instead of, chasing. That first tour for me, the Who is Jill Scott tour, I toured for 2 years. I got pneumonia 3 times. Fever's 105. I did the Late Show with, what's the guy with the long chin? J.ill. I did his show with 105 fever. And promptly so sick that after I got off of the camera, promptly peed on myself and passed out.
Wow.
Like, I was sick. This is not a game. But trying to keep
I've been
up
there.
and man.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up.
I know you're talking about.
And not for nothing. It's funny. I also, you think about sleep and people don't talk about, I was sitting here looking and reminding myself of all the benefits of sleep when it comes to beauty for people who want to stay and for people who want to live longer lives. It's like, just, you might want to do that, because if you're working hard and not getting no rest so you can live this fast life, it's going to be a fast life.
And face going to drop.
Right, like right here.
Like, that's
Listen,
real.
You're not,
girl. Yes.
You're not missing. I like little babies. Little babies, you try to put them down and they keep waking up to see what they're gonna miss. Maybe you should miss that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Maybe you should come around to that a little bit later.
Man.
My mother used to say, you can't be at every party.
Right. Hey.
You seen that person with them dark eyes.
Be at every party. Go to the parties you're supposed to go to, the ones that are meant for you.
Yeah.
But some are not. You're gonna miss it.
Yeah, you can't be everywhere.
But don't y'all feel like, but again, it just feel like in this age of like post-COVID, it's hard to know when to rest because you're always at home. And so you feel like it's always, if you're not doing something that's for your home, you could be working.
These things are true.
And then of course there was a lot going around during this pandemic, and particularly in the social media space, that was like, if you ain't started a LLC, if you ain't done such and such and such, and you didn't do what you did, you wasted this time. And I feel like that's a good segue into a conversation about what constitutes quality time, and in terms of what you invest your time in. I had, in terms of accomplishment, I mentioned my mother earlier, and I was talking to my son in the same conversation about my mom, and I was like, I put my mother to rest. She didn't own a home. She did not even own a car. She had a high school diploma. She had no formalized extended education. She had never won any awards. She had not even done the stuff that was in her heart, like as a profession or anything like that. She was an artist at heart. And it was amazing at her homegoing that she had such a personal impact on so many people's lives that it was a constant line of, let me tell you about your mother. Let me tell you about what she did for me. Let me tell you about how she affected my life. Let me tell you what a friend she was to me. And it was amazing to see that. And it helped shift my perception about what it is to be successful in life, and what it is to have impact on the world, and how you spend your time. You know what I'm saying? Because on paper, she had not done any of the things that people say are the goals. You know?
Yeah. Sounds like.
Sounds like.
No, it's just interesting. I'm like, it sounds like something you would say about your mom, your grandmom. Like tis the case a lot. It's just interesting. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't any different than the next person in terms of, everybody's going to have folks that love them. But It was that experience that kind of shifted that for me a little, in terms of like how I spend my time. And for me during quarantine, I've worked minimally out of just the availability of work at first. Mm-hmm. But now a lot of what I'm doing, I feel, is going to be indicative of how I live my life from this point on. That is one thing that I've definitely learned from this situation is
here.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. This has changed us. And I think, I hope that it's changed us for the better. Just honestly, me being able to spend some more time with my kid, just being home has been extraordinary. I like that boy. Mm-hmm. I knew I loved him. I knew I liked him, but I like that dude. That's a good dude. He's funny. He's cool. He always got some jokes. Comes with the serious conversations that I don't know where they're coming from. I didn't expect it. But I'm like, yes, you are awesome. This is good. We do know 10 people. I personally know 10 people who have had COVID and, got better from it. But meaning nobody passed away. But man, when I tell you listening to their voices and knowing them, how weak they were, and several of them wished for death. That's major. We're not eating right as a folk. Yeah. We're not resting for us the way we need to individually. We're hustling and working and trying to survive. And I'm not dissing you in any way, shape, or form. I want you to get what you want out of life. But this is your one body and your one life. And you might need to take several seats for a minute in order to accomplish what you want out of it.
It's interesting though, because on the flip side, because I feel like my life is more on the flip side of what y'all are saying, because while I understand the necessity of rest as I'm going to say as a creative or yet and still as a person who's kind of like gig to gig, if you are in a point in your career where you are working and hustling, then you feel like you working harder, not only because you can right now, because you're blessed enough to do it. But then there's also a factor of the current state of the economy and living in a world where you don't have pension, you don't know about your Social Security, and you're trying to figure out too, when I turn, because I do want to be able to chill. It ain't going to happen. I'm not going to say it ain't going to happen. Maybe I'll write some big hit show or do something where there's a big load of money. But for most people who are living their under $100,000 life, it's kind of like, how am I going to be able to live the life I should be living at 60 something years old? I look at that. I say that also coming from most of our parents who have jobs where they have retired and they might have a pension and they do have Social Security and they are still yet struggling. So you're watching their struggle with the assistance that you ain't even going to have. And so I'm just saying that sometimes that can be heavy. And while you understand that you need to be taking care of self, you also have to figure out how to work that in. It's just, I
hear you on that. On that. Cause I consider myself, a gig worker too, in that same vein. Yeah. But I think, like for me, I just feel like this, there is no bag. Me and my husband have this conversation all the time. I'm like, this is just my philosophy. My philosophy is there is no bag. I'm not looking for the bag. I'm not trying to secure the bag. For me, there is no bag. There is no spoon. There is no bag. For me, it's like my life has to move forward in such a way that's respectful of my day to day. And that doesn't mean that you don't plan for the future. It just means that I just don't expect this massive thing to save me from working. So I have to work at a pace I'm comfortable with so that I can still do it when I'm 60 or 70 or 80 for that matter. And think of my life in terms of how does it work for me in the long term. So everything I'm choosing to do now are things that I'm prepared to do when I'm in my 70s and 80s. Like if need be, if something else comes along the way to make that easier for me, then praise God. But for me, I just can't be focused on that bag because I personally just don't think there is one. And particularly for Black people, it ain't. Because how many of us have had one generation secure the bag and 2 generations later, not even 2, 1 generation later is gone.
Yes.
And I seen it happen within the same generation, particularly in this business that we in. So, and all this be smart with your money and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, some of that's true. But there's a lot of things there that can change that. And we sitting in the middle of one.
Right.
Well, be clear. I know what things may appear to be with a lot of celebrity folks. But the reality is the majority of them, including myself, we do need to make money because you have no idea how many people I'm taking care of. No clue.
Amen.
And their lights need to be on, and it is what it is. You have no idea with those folks. So they might have the new car and it might look good, but it's probably a loan. They might have all the accoutrement of jewelry and things like that, but the reality is it's probably not even something that they own at all. And I don't, sport a bunch of shit. My car is from 2012. I like old Shirley. Oh, Shirley, get me where I need to go. Okay.
Always a female.
Come on, Shirley.
Shirley, Betsy,
That's
always
my
an
girl.
old Black woman issue. Yes.
That's my girl. But I try my best to put things in perspective. What matters most? What matters most? I need to know that my mom is straight, if I happen to go untimely. I need to know that. I need to know the jet is set up and that the situation is set up, not for him to just not have to work, because I don't even believe in that. I don't believe in that at all. You better earn your right. You better earn your way, in this life. I've been working since I was 14 years old.
Word.
Okay? Yeah. And paying bills since then. Okay? It does not stop.
Oh, yeah.
I just want you to understand.
Everybody with a teen after their age in my house has a job.
Girl.
Wow.
Oh yes. We don't. But actually, let me give them some credit. It wasn't something that I had to make them do. But I do believe in feeling confident, obviously, with, doing for yourself and everything. And I respect everything you're saying, Joe, in terms of legacy and making sure that that your responsibilities and the people who you're responsible for are cared for, particularly parents and children, 100% for sure. And I do. I understand that. And I understand about creating safeguards for that,
That's my goal, by the way, too. Parents, only child shit. Yes.
Yeah. And I dig that. I really do.
And nobody saw this coming. Maybe somebody out there did, but I know I didn't see COVID coming. And that bag that we're speaking of, that thing went blowing in the wind somewhere. That thing was apparently made of paper too. Because one minute I had all of the, the numbers written down and I knew what I was going to be making and blah, blah, blah. And that went out the window. Yeah. And now there's, figuring out other ways to sustain and to grow.
Well, aren't you glad that in the wake of that that you had the strength of what mattered in your life to then, curl back into. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens too, is in this moment, is that people are like, do I have a soft place to fall in a moment like this? When money might be funny, or I don't have my job, I don't have the bustle of my job to keep me busy. And I don't have all these different things going on that are keeping my attention. Who am I in this moment? I can't move the way I want to move. And can we take that into this moment when it's no longer like it is right now? Because this too shall pass.
Yes. Well, hopefully.
Eventually.
I mean, the goal is longevity. The goal is longevity. It's like so many of us are living for this exact moment, trying to get that new car, get that new thing that puts you in a bind every month. Just making your existence so much harder. How do I know? I got people. You know what I mean? I got people. And I watch them do things. I get a car note that's just way out of sorts. So when something like this happens, there is no cushion to fall back on. We're getting back to learning how to live, not just exist for the day, for the week, to show people what, to show people that you got what, stuff that can be burned, stuff that can be lost, stuff that, probably won't even be, the thing, 2 months from now. We're trying to encourage you. Well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm trying to encourage you to live. And living means, or part of it anyway, is thinking about what you want for yourself when you no longer are able to get out on this road or work them 3 jobs, or what is the goal? And to work towards that goal. The goal is a comfortable longevity. In my opinion. What do you have to do now to do that? So if you're in your 20s, knuckle up, learn all you can, get yourself some mentors, find out, what it is to what success means to you, figure that out. Then you start working smarter in your 30s and head towards those goals.
By the time you turn 40, it'll all be different.
It just might.
And that's why I told you, there is no bag. It ain't there.
I think that the bag is comfortable longevity.
But
that's what it is for me.
But you know
for
what?
Me too.
I like the idea of comfortable longevity as a goal, and I agree with that. However, I think the bag imagery for me has just been problematic.
Oh, we gotta change the word then.
Yeah,
right.
We gotta change the word then, because it is something that you working towards. And I know I've always been working towards just being comfortable and not having that feeling in my heart of hurry up, wake up, you gotta do this, blah, 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 blah. That's
I do need a comfortable longevity mentor though. Like we need to find us a Black woman that has achieved this so that she can help us to stay focused and not get off the...
Have you guys seen Toni Morrison's documentary?
I have not.
Yes, I have.
I'm putting it on the list. Damn, it's so many good documentaries.
If there is anybody who understood what comfortable longevity meant, and that's just something that popped up in my head during this conversation. Yeah. But she knew what it meant. Yeah. She worked exceptionally hard to get it. That woman decided when she was going to wake up and how she was going to work. Yep. She made sure that there was room and space and love for her children. Yeah. And these things.
Mentorship for others.
Yes. And for herself.
That's a goal too. See, that's all those things, you guys. Having time to do all that. I'm sorry.
I'm just glad you brought that up because she really is. I forgot how much she is my hero. Beyond that, she is, a canon in and of herself. But beyond that, just as a woman.
FYI, folks, if
As
you
a
don't,
woman.
so you don't have to go look for it. It's on Amazon. I just want to let everybody know. Okay, Amazon.
I think it's also on Netflix too.
I went
It's
to see
not-
it in the theater.
Nice.
All right, you better than us. All right.
I went to the theater, darling, to see it. But
When I watched that, I felt like, my God, that woman lived a
Yes.
life. Woke up every morning to her lake,
But the lake was on the back end.
Right.
But that's what we're talking about.
Yes.
All of that.
Yeah.
That comfortable longevity. And working while she was writing her book, during that, making sure the doors open so her children, she did what she had to do, but she made sure her children didn't feel alienated.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you everything about the documentary, but I would really, really love for all of you listeners, male and female, young and old, to pay attention to the life of Toni Morrison. Brilliant writer, beautiful, exceptional woman who took very little shit from this world and made it better. And that is living.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Hey y'all, it's Eves again, a producer on the show. Laiya, J.ill, and Asia talked about how we can survive in the US, a country that often values grinding over health and burning out over sleep. For a take on how we can use our personal stories to thrive, Asia recommends the book In the Wake on Blackness and Being by Christina Sharp. You can also check out the documentary they mentioned, Toni Morrison, The Pieces I Am, wherever it might be available on streaming services right now. And another shout out to the Nap Ministry, an organization founded by Tricia Hersey that believes in rest as a form of resistance. As always, I'll leave links in the episode description.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Jill Scott Presents J.ill, the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
This podcast is hosted by Jill Scott, Laiya St. Clair, and Asia Graydon Dantzler. Its executive producers are Jill Scott, Sean G., and Brian Calhoun. It's produced by Laiya St. Clair and me, Eves Jeffcoat. The editing and sound design for this episode were done by Taylor Chacoin.
I just wanted to add to Patty Jackson and in Time Magazine's defense, they did a cover of almost 200,000 COVID folks who had passed from COVID on their March issue. Make a note of that.
Okay.
J.ill is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.